This is Greg Germino, and we're at my amplifier shop in Saxonville, North Carolina. We're here today to give you a brief tour, show you a few amplifiers, and give you a little background on myself. I've got a very small, quaint shop here, but it allows me to do everything that I need to do. I've got a broad array of parts, lots of parts to get the job done. Transformers, chassis, some cabinetry here, and my main workstation where I do all the work. There's also a smaller workstation here, drill press, where we make the different boards for the amps, things like that. So it's a small shop, but it feels very good, and it allows me to do everything that I need to do to build the amplifiers, each one that I produce. And here's a Fillmore 100 that I've just finished working on. To begin a build on an amplifier, depending on which model I'm going to build, we've got some steel chassis for some of the big 100-watt models. We also have an aluminum chassis for some of the 50-watt, 40-watt models. And obviously the first thing that we would do, we would go from here to adding all the miscellaneous parts, transformers, to the chassis. We'd be adding the tube sockets and all the various hardware. And this one does not have the power transformer attached. But that's the beginning of it. That would give me something to work from to begin wiring. Probably, even though this amp is complete, the first thing that I would do would be wiring from the transformer to the tube sockets. And then once that's done, the wiring for the transformers begins to the fuse holders, the switches, to the output jacks, the impedance selector, the voltage selector. Those are done. The pilot lamp, the controls, and the input jacks. From there, we would get a board, and it would be populated with the various componentry that you see here. And then the boards are wired in place, and that is the result. It takes a few days, and then there's a certain amount of time for burn-in and play testing. Example of the Paxolin turret board material that we use. This comes from the UK. It's the original stuff like you see in an old plexi head, and these come perforated, and then I press the individual turrets into the board. This is really great material. It's got a very high dielectric resistance and works extremely well. It has a beautiful look to it. The finished look of it is exactly what you might see in some of the older British amplifiers. You're basically trying to find a groove. It's not how fast you can do it. You just want to get a nice flow going. This takes very small amount of time compared to what it takes to build the amplifier. We're going to populate the board with some components. These are the small signal capacitors and some of the small electrolytic capacitors that go on the board. Oh yes, this is the capacitor that is part of the tone stack, the tone network. There's different values that we'll use for a base model or a lead model, and this is a bypass cap, treble boost cap. And that's going in a different position on the board. But this is how it begins. These are the first components to populate the board as we begin to build. And we have to arrange some different jumpers here to go from component to component. These are all hand cut, one at a time. Like this, and then another piece. And this will happen in several stages over the board. When the amp's completed and we're ready to fire it up and play test, it's time to install the valves, tubes. These are a Mullard reissue 12AX7. These are manufactured in Russia by the New Sensor Corporation. It's a great tube, really good sounding 12AX7. And the EL34s are made by Valve Art. These are made in China, but it is a excellent sounding EL34. It's based on the original Mullard EL34, the XF2 variety. And I've been using these for several years now with excellent results. It's a very well made tube, good glass, good sounding, very nice. One of the things that I wanted to point out is that all of the Germino models do have a voltage selector switch. That's prudent for running 120 here in America. We've got a tap for 220, 230, and 240 volts on all of the amplifiers, as well as the impedance selector, which will allow you to select 16, 8, and 4 ohms. Some of the other components in here, they're very well selected. We've got a 7-watt screen grid resistor. Usually that's 5 watts. This is a little extra overkill. We've got these beautiful Castelco switches that come from the UK. Lovely period correct look. Some of the pots are sealed, and then some of the pots are open for the volume and the bass, because I prefer those. They sound better. Fuse holders, easy access on those. Some of the tube sockets that we're able to use, I try to get new old stock tube sockets whenever I can. These have been in use for about 6 months now. Lovely. From Britain. Still sealed in the original wax paper. Those are very nice. Those are being used right now. But I try to source the very best components in all the amplifiers. Some people may be familiar with the Sozo capacitors. Those are very nice mustard cap replicas. But good components all the way through. Nice wiring, as you can see. Makes for a great sounding amp. Cabinets. Here are a few of the 50-watt head cabinets I'd like to show you. These are done at an independent wood shop. These are built out of Baltic birch. They have gold handles and gold vent screen. Also have an access hole. Some of the amp models have a rectifier switch. You can access that there. It's also a place for you to put your power cable. That's the 50-watt small box head. And we have the larger 100-watt head there. Forgive the dust. This is for a Monterey or Fillmore model with the skinny vent in top. This is 5/8 Baltic birch. And we'll do a few in different colors from time to time. Here's one. Here's one in white, custom color, with those gold accents. Really nice looking cabinet. And behind me is one of the 212 cabinets. This is a combo. This is built out of 5/8 Baltic birch. Also has the access hole for the rectifier switch. And that's just waiting for some speakers and a chassis. These are built to original dimensions. And this is such to where both the 50-watt head and the 100-watt head will fit nicely right on top of that. Years ago we had the smaller Germino block logo, which was replaced in 2006 with the Germino script logo. I'm a big fan of this. I think it's just a much nicer looking logo. And well, that's a tour of the shop. It's small, very homey, but it allows me to do everything I need to build the Germino amplifiers. There's a lot of inventory in here. This is also the shipping department, as you can see. So I want to thank you for coming. Thank you for the visit. Please feel free to stop in at the Tune Your Sound website or the Germino Amps website. Thanks a lot. I hope to see you soon.